Welcome to the 2010 New Year's Week edition of the Spotlight Energy Report, hosted by Jed Knutson, Julia Batchison, and Chantel Flanders. Here is Julia Batchison with this week's major headlines.
Thanks, Jed. Early last week, the United States accused China of providing illegal subsidies to wind power equipment production. The announcement came on Wednesday, followed by a U.S. request for World Trade Organization discussions, the initial step in trade case filing. On Thursday, China's Ministry of Commerce stated that its actions were in accordance with global trade regulations. The Chinese ministry initially responded by saying, China will conscientiously study the U.S. request for consultations and will deal with this in accordance with the WTO dispute settlement rules, while retaining our corresponding rights. The United Arab Emirates expects to add nuclear power to its energy supply very soon. Just this past Monday, the Emirate Nuclear Energy Company, which is state-backed, applied for a regulatory license for its first nuclear reactors. The 9,000-page application comes 1 year after a South Korean consortium won the $20 billion project contract. This application is for the first 2 reactors in the plant. South Korea appears ready to enter the carbon trading market. The country is increasing its efforts to get polluting industries to support an emissions trading program. South Korea would like to treat carbon trading as its own industry, one that will prove economically beneficial for all involved. South Korean President Lee Myung-bak wants industries to change their attitude regarding carbon trading. President Lee stated it is important to understand the trading scheme in a positive way, that it is another industry that helps economic growth. Now over to Jed for our top energy news stories in the United States.
Thanks, Julia. Interior Secretary Ken Salazar has once again approved a major solar project, this time for the Nevada desert. Located in Nye County, it is now one of 9 large-scale solar projects to gain the approval of the Obama administration. This project will sit on 2,200 Bureau of Land Management administered acres located 13 miles northwest of Tonopah. Enough electricity will be generated by the 110 megawatt Crescent Dune solar energy project to power 75,000 Nevada homes. Last week, the California Energy Commission approved imposing standards for green buildings in Santa Clara County, the center of Silicon Valley, that are stricter than state standards. Commercial buildings and homes larger than 1,200 square feet will be required to meet Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design (LEED) criteria regarding waste reduction, recycling, water use, and energy efficiency. Within the regulations is a statement that reduction of energy usage as a result of efficiencies and conservation required by this ordinance is likely to have local benefits such as cost reduction, additional available system energy capacity, reduction in electricity demand, and reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. One energy commissioner stated, "It's another good example of local government leadership on efficiency." 7 other local California governments requested that their more stringent standards for green building be approved. The EPA last week revealed how it plans to regulate oil refinery and power plant greenhouse gas emissions. These 2 sources are the largest contributors to annual carbon emissions in the U.S. The timeline includes a draft utility performance standard scheduled for release in July. This will be finalized by May 2012. In 1 year, a proposed standard for utilities will be issued, which will be finalized in November 2012. Now over to Chantel for a special look at our biggest headlines for 2010.
Thanks, Jed. We had our fair share of both good news and bad in 2010, and it will surely be a year not soon forgotten. Here are some of the biggest moments as we saw them over the past year. When the Obama administration took over in 2008, it was clear that energy would play a major role in the success of the administration. President Obama used his first year to lay the groundwork for what would lead to a landmark year for energy in 2010. 2 of his cabinet members, Interior Secretary Salazar and Energy Secretary Chu, would make our headlines on a regular basis this year, as both played instrumental roles in helping the Obama administration realize its energy goals. There is still a long way to go, but the realignment of the Minerals Management Service was clearly a step in the right direction. Secretary Salazar spearheaded this realignment immediately after the Gulf spill and continues to play a crucial role in the United States' focus on both renewable and fossil fuel energy. Secretary Salazar and Chu have also created more outlets in renewable energy. The United States will play a vital role in the future of renewable energy, and based on the decisions made by both of these men over the last year, alternative energy is here to stay. The approval process of projects such as the Cape Wind project and opening up of federal lands for solar farms show the commitment of the administration and the country to curb greenhouse gas emissions. The introduction of the electric vehicle is an event that cannot yet be measured, but is something that will shape both the transportation and energy worlds for years to come. We have seen upstart companies like Tesla create a buzz in both the auto and investment worlds. We have also seen pillars of the industry jump into the market with both feet and project that in as little as 20 years, these cars could make up the bulk of the market. We still face the challenge of setting up charging networks to make electric cars truly viable as a source of everyday transportation, but the early public interest in these vehicles make it apparent that the world's population is clearly ready to do what they can to curb emissions. As countries continue to look for ways to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions and meet their climate goals, this is an avenue that must continue to be explored. Of course, the biggest headline in the energy world this year was the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. While this is an obvious tragedy, some good did come of it. After seeing millions of gallons of oil seep into the Gulf waterways for weeks on end, the world realizes that we are far from immune to events like this happening, even in modern times. BP and the other companies responsible may not have been as prudent as they should have been, and this tragedy was a direct result. However, there is much more blame to be spread other than to the few companies and people that were directly involved. The realignment of the Minerals Management Service was a direct result of this accident, as the United States realized that the agency had become far too lax in enforcing regulations. In addition, all oil companies now realize the importance of having a viable solution to the worst-case scenario. The technology that was developed, the techniques used, and the new policies put in place during the cleanup and aftermath of this spill will surely prevent a spill of this magnitude from happening again in the future. For more headlines, visit us at worldenergymedia.com. Before we go, the entire World Energy Media team would like to wish everyone a safe and happy new year. This is Chantel Flanders for Jed Knutson and Julia Batchison at World Energy Media. Thanks for watching and have a great day.